Hey, Shalom. First off, I want to start off by saying all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakal Kadash. It's all praises who the world ignorant calls God in Jesus Christ. The true names in the Hebrew is Yahweh for the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai for his beloved Son. I also want to say double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who rule very well. And peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, preaching this word in truth and sincerity, risking their life and freedom to do so. Because in these last days, a lot of stuff is going to kick off, and it's all going to be putting the true men of the Lord, ultimately all Israel, under the scope by the biblical Edomites, who you call Caucasians in the world today. But Lord willing, my brother Tazabah from the Arizona camp, Lord willing, I want to make another edifying video through the Spirit. Now, the brother put out an article. I sent one too, and a comment board for the group me for me and the Akim. And I want to get into these, man, and how it's going to play in a prophecy. So it says oil just had its worst run since 2008. Oil has entered a bear market, and there's two markets. There's a bear market where it's compared to a bear, because if a bear was on its hind feet, and it throws its paw's coming down. That's why they call it a bear market. Just like a bear throwing his paw down, a little slash. And a bull market is like a bull bucking its horns upward. So now we're in a bear market. It says oil has entered a bear market as fears of an economic downturn mount. It says fundamentals look much tighter than the swoon might suggest, but the supply and demand picture is also beginning to look more negative. The EIA report was exponentially weak, showing a strong build in crude oil, plus 6.8 million barrels, gasoline, plus 3.2 million barrels, and distillates, plus 4.6 million barrels. The combined buildup across multiple products surpassed the market. Sometimes these figures sort of offset each other. For instance, in refineries are running really hard, they tend to build up gasoline stocks, but they use up the crude oil in the process, so the crude inventories dip even as the gasoline stock rises. This time around, there was none of that. Increase across the board led to the plunge in oil prices. So what you got to understand is supply and demand. This is what this is going into. When the supply is low, the demand is high. You can drive up prices, everybody can make a lot more money. But when the supply is high and the demand is as it always was, now you got to get this inventory off, because you're pumping oil every day. So it's just building up. So you have to drive the prices down. So that's why it's looking like a bear market, because now nobody's going to be making money off the oil like they were. It says oil has a Lehman Brothers moment. It's how standard character described it. It says the investment bank puts out its own bull bear index, ranging from minus 100 to plus 100, measuring the direction the market seemed to be heading in a given week. Our U.S. oil data bull and bear index registers negative 96.7, only slightly better than the extreme negative 100 reading for negative 100 reading of 2 weeks ago. It says the bank said the 4-week average of the index is 79.4%, taking it far below the 5-year range. These there hasn't been such a negative uh, four 4 week run since 2008. The bank said, and 2008 is a benchmark year to compare everything because in 2008 oil was at $100 a barrel. That's when you had your here in Arizona. That's when you had your $5 gas prices. People were putting out memes on Facebook saying $5 is no longer give me a ride money, you know, because that's when you were getting a 550, 545 price on gasoline. It was expensive. People couldn't travel. You couldn't afford it. When you got a lot of people that had those huge trucks went from paying $2, $2.50 to $5 a gallon on a truck that probably holds about 28, 30 gallons of gas at a time. 6 cylinders, you're only getting 15 miles per gallon. It was killing them. And this is the market that is coming back into. It says, in other words, oil market fundamentals are heading in a really bearish direction. The last time things looked this bad was during the financial crisis. You see, and that's what we're coming into again, is a financial crisis. You know? So I'm going to get to a few scriptures and I'm going to jump to this other article. This is Ecclesiastes. Where's it at? There you go. Ecclesiastes 12. And I think it's 3 or 4. Ecclesiastes 12 and 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few. And who are keepers of the house? Are your dignitaries, you know, your banking families. Those are the keepers of the house. A house is a government, you know. It's a ruling situation, you know, when you go into the word of it. So when the keepers of the house are tremble because everything isn't going as they plan, markets are going up and down, they can't figure out how to plan it out. Even though they're trying to orchestrate it, they can't figure out a way to make it move at the rate they want it to. It says, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. And that's what's going to happen. Because when gasoline prices start getting high, the cost of shipping starts getting high. The cost of exporting and the cost of pushing goods across state and countries are going to get so high that people are going to get laid off. And there's going to be no jobs. It says, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the door shall be shut in the street. You see? And you got a lot of store closings happen. And when this gas price goes way up, a lot more people are going to get laid off. There's a lot of stores closing. Here it is. You got J.C. Penney's, Macy's. What are some of the other big ones? I'm forgetting their names, man. Old Navy. A lot of those stores, those high-end stores, even Saks Fifth Ave. I saw an article a while back, and brothers even brought it out, that a lot of those stores in that monumental shopping street were being closed. Why? Because the prophecies are coming to pass where the grinder's going to cease, meaning there's going to be no jobs. It says, verse 4, it says, and the door shall be shut in the streets. That's your store closings. When the sound of the grinding is low, what's the grinding? Work. Why is it low? Because there's going to be few jobs here and there, man. There's not going to be a lot of places anymore to go. It says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird. You see? What does that mean? A lot of people are going to get up at the break of dawn to try to find some work. And all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and the fears shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man go to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Because a lot of people are going to be out here on the streets moping. They can't get a job. There are a lot of people that look down on these Issacharites, these so-called Hispanics, these so-called Mexicans on the corner of Home Depot and shit. doing an honest day's work, trying to be day laborers and just get some money for the day and shit. A lot of those people are going to be in the same predicaments, man. Especially these Edomites, man. These so-called Caucasian people, man. It says, or ever the silver cord be loose, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or a well be broken at the cistern. You see? This is what's coming, man. The grinder's going to cease, man. That's what it says. What's that in? It's in 2nd Ezra. I think it's 15. I'm drawing a blank here, man. No, it's not 15. It might be. What does it say? It says, sold cheap. Second Ezra is 16, and I'll start at 19. It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, And this is Israel, ultimately, but the entire world, man. All these plagues are going to come. Famine's going to come. Tribulation's going to come. Anguish is going to come. A lot of people are going to be in a horrible spot. And the Lord's sending these things for an amendment. But you people aren't going to be mindful of it. So what does it say? It says, behold, victuals, meaning goods, shall be sold good cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And haven't we seen that? You got 60-inch TVs, HD TVs, 1080p. They used to sell for like 2Gs, 3Gs, are being sold for $200-$300, man. Even though they're coming out with these 4K and these ultra Ks and whatever it is, man. These new TVs, man. Those ones that they slashing these prices on that used to be 3Gs and shit to buy. Now they're being sold for $300, man. So people think they're in good case because they're able to buy these nice things. And they're like, oh, life is good. It says, even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Sword, famine, and great confusion. And that's what's going to happen, man. This is what's coming to pass. So the economy is crashing. And these oil prices are beefing up. And here it is. Right here it says war with Iran could send oil prices to $250 a barrel. Now, I googled this before I got on. How much is a barrel of crude oil? Because I wanted to crunch the numbers on it. But check this out. It says annual average domestic crude oil prices. Annual average domestic crude oil prices in dollars per barrel. Inflation adjusted to February 2019. 2008, $91.48. 2019 would be $107.5. So in 2008, when it was $91, that's when you had your little $5, $5.15, $5.25 gas prices. That's when it was at that price, man. And goods were costing hella a lot of money. And then it dipped when Obama came into office, because he did some bailouts. He did all this stuff to curb the market so it looks good for a time being. You people started living good again. And that's when it came to that time where it says, victuals shall be sold good cheap. So let me get this other article the brother sent out, because with this happening, this is what we're looking for, man. When these prices skyrocket, sedition is going to happen just like that, man. It says Fox and Friends host press White House spokesman on whether Insurrection Act will be used to stem border crisis. And it's not only going to be used for that, man. It says the Fox and Friends co-host on Friday pressed Deputy White House Press Secretary Hogan Gidley on reports that the Trump administration plans to use the Insurrection Act to combat illegal immigration. It says Trump intends to use the tremendous powers of the law to remove illegal immigrants from the country. The Daily Caller reported, citing multiple senior administration officials. The Insurrection Act goes back to 1807 and allows the president to deploy troops. Allows the president to deploy troops anywhere in the U.S. to execute federal law, generally to put down lawlessness and insurrection. This power is limited through. If this power is limited, though, it was used as justification for the Civil War. It says it was last invoked by former President George H.W. Bush during 1992 Los Angeles riots. Before that, it was used in 1957 by former President Dwight Eisenhower to desegregate schools in the South. Is the administration considering the Insurrection Act? Steve Doocy asks Gilley. Gilley begins answering that Trump will do everything in his power to protect the nation. When Doocy interjected with, "Is that a yes or no?" He's going to do everything within his legal authority to protect the American people and the families of this country, Gilley said. That's a yes. Doocy and Brian Kilmeade agreed. You see? So they're going to inject this act. And when they do it once, it's going to be easy for them to do it again, because when these oil prices go up and the price of everything goes up, and you people's paychecks ain't going up to compensate for it, and you start losing jobs at the same time, and you can't function, that's when it's gonna kick in, man. That's when this is gonna kick in, man. Second Ezra 16 and 70. It says, For there should be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection. You see? Among those that fear Yahweh, they should be like madmen, sparing none. You know what? Let me get this, man. Sedition. Second Ezra 15 and 16. 14. It says, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. It says, And there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings, nor their princes, in the course of their actions to stand in their power. And that's what we're coming into, man, because when these oil prices, just like over there in France, what do you think they're so mad, man? Because stuff is getting so expensive, they can't even afford to get to work anymore. The yellow vest protests, it says, A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, because when all this stuff pops off, it's going to be everybody against everybody. One people against another people, and even within that, man, each people are going to be divided against themselves. It says, For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And man shall have no pity on upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and of great tribulation. And that's what we're inching towards, man. Behold, say Yahweh, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another, to repay the things that they have done to them, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom, thus said Yahweh power. And all these things are happening because how they treated the chosen people of the Lord, man. So that's what I'm gonna get on this, man. Lord willing, is to edify, man. Keep watching those things, man. This is watch as well as pray, that you enter not into temptation. So keep looking, brothers. Hey, shalom.